if everybody is ready, we'll go ahead and jump into episode 44 of Simply Another Band of Curiously Odd Travelers. Last time, our party had made the excursion back from the Black Ivory Inn, or rather the remains of whatever temporal anomaly had trapped you all in the Black Ivory Inn. After bidding a non-fond farewell to the very ragged and aged Marquis von Geldstadt, you headed back towards the cosmological clock tower, passing by a rather grotesque sight of a large brood of ratlings and other very excessively contaminated creatures of the city of Drakkenheim, deep within the center of the city. You found yourselves an untampered with door outside one of the central market buildings or streets, and found a strange cloak within one of these doors in a locked sort of exterior pantry, garnering yourselves a cloak of elven kind in the process. Upon returning back to the Hooded Lantern's barracks after a night in the top of the cosmological clock tower, one of the few areas deep within the city of Drakkenheim that could ever protect oneself from the ill effects of the haze, where one could try to get a bit of rest, you then headed back towards the Hooded Lantern's barracks, upon which you had a discussion with Eldrick and Elias there within the Lord Commander's offices, where Eldrick explained what he had learned in greater detail in regards to the seals of the city, as well as the monarch's crowns of the three great nations of this continent: Illyria, Westamar, and Caspia. That these crowns, once adorned and attuned to a new monarch, granted with them a tremendous world-altering, reality-bending power, and more simply put, a minimum of at least one powerful wish, if not even more. After a long, deep discussion of what was to come and the various options to you moving forward, a commotion stirred outside the gates there at the barracks of the Hooded Lanterns, where a group of members of the Falling Fire had arrived to seemingly have a swift discussion with you all. Nothing unsavory, but just simply a meeting of the minds, led by none other than the leader of this group, Lucretia Matthias. After discussing with you all, she highly recommended that at some point you make the pilgrimage to the crater, the epicenter of this disaster in the city of Drakkenheim, and the epicenter and source of delirium. Being a bit vague in her understanding, she simply stated that to truly understand what delirium was and what was to come of this world, you should see the matter for yourselves at the heart of the crater, a place that she claims she had already been to, and had seen this grand design, if you will. In addition, she put on display for you all something you had never seen before: a shard of golden-hued delirium that she claimed was purified in the soul of one of her fallen members of her sect, to which she then presented to you all, and you saw remnants of this golden hue beginning to overtake the otherwise contaminating effects of the shards that were jammed within each of their chests. Already confused as how this didn't immediately turn these individuals into contaminated monsters like you had seen time and time again within the city of Drakkenheim, you now began to see that something was definitely changing this strange substance. And then this was even further compounded by the fact she then set this with no ill effect into the hand of an uncontaminated individual whom you had saved from the Black Ivory Inn, Balthazar Adamos, who had begun his pilgrimage here before being trapped in the inn itself in its temporal loop, then accompanied them back to St. Selena's Abbey as they bid you all a fond farewell, with rather more questions than answers in this situation. Now, as you stand outside, or just at the gates rather, of the Hooded Lantern's barracks, looking towards the center of Drakkenheim, you have several choices to make. Do you head towards the infamous Castle Drakken to potentially conduct reconnaissance of this otherwise unvisited site in over a decade? Do you attempt to explore the crater as requested by Lucretia Matthias? Or do you attempt some type of excursion or assault upon the Queensmen in their hideout and try to take back the stolen seals of the city? As you now stand at these gates of the Hooded Lantern's barracks with even more questions than before, but a renewed sense of duty, perhaps understanding, perhaps faith, or just morbid curiosity at this point, what would you all like to do?
I think we had discussed previously that we were going to stay away from the epicenter because nothing.
You were kind of breaking up there. What'd you say at the end?
Because nothing good.
You're still kind of breaking up.
It's pretty bad.
God damn it!
Everything's super muffled. There you go. That was good. God.
I don't hear anything right now. You guys good? Oh, did we lose Balsamic? Can you guys hear me? Oh, hold on. Hold up. Hold up.
Now we play the way.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
We'll go back.
Okay, sorry about that. I think I accidentally closed Discord. Why is this not pulling up that stuff now? Hold on. Sorry guys, we're having a bit of technical difficulty here. Okay.
Well, I think you had fixed whatever your issue was.
Yeah, I just brought the mic closer to my mouth.
Oh.
Okay.
So, but I thought that we had talked about not going through with whatever Lucretia was talking about because
yeah, I remember that too.
Nothing good has ever come from the meteor.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that we were going to stay away from that. As far as going to Castle Drakken or going elsewhere, I don't think we made a decision from that point, had we?
No.
I'm leaning towards the castle. But that's just me.
all of it is very scary, but I think that the castle. I was worried that the castle would put something too powerful in our hands before we could ensure that we could keep everything else safe.
That's fair.
But I mean, it's all of it is right. So it's not like any of it.
Remember, and then he already came after us once for the fucking
Right.
staff. So I mean,
Yeah, right. Do we actually know what is at the castle, or is it just like speculation that another seal will be there?
Well, we're pretty sure that's where the crown is, right?
Yeah, but I mean, do we have any like definitive on it besides
No.
the fact that we have not gone there in a campaign yet?
No one. I don't think.
Nope.
Even in legend, there is no known whereabouts of the crown. The last time anybody saw it was there, and presumably it's still with the king who is dead.
What Elias had shared with you all was the last known sighting of the crown was atop the head of Ulrich von Kessel IV, somewhere in Castle Drakken the day the meteor fell.
I guess that makes sense.
He very well may not be dead, even. Right.
Currently, you do not know the
Queen
whereabouts.
wasn't.
Right. Yeah. Exactly right. So if the queen wasn't, well, who knows? But. Scary crown. Above the table, JJ. If we're rehashing stuff that we had already made a decision on, that you had counted on us making a specific decision, like you just tell us what we. I don't remember exactly how the conversation ended, so I don't remember what we decided.
Gotcha. Give me just one moment here. Sorry, I'm having some. There we go. I was having some issues with the audio. There we go. That's better. Can you repeat that one more time? My apologies.
Just if we had decided already what to do, and now we're having a conversation that we already had, right? Like,
I believe last time your discussion and your ultimate, the closest decision I heard was that you were going to head at some point, somehow head back towards the Court of Thieves and Buckle Down Row.
Okay.
But I don't know if a final decision was ever made. I believe you were still in the process of speaking with people and deciding what you wanted to do.
Yeah, I didn't want to send us to the castle and you didn't have that ready, right? Like,
I have everything ready at this point. It's just a matter of what you choose to do and how you choose to prepare.
He's the dungeon master. He's got everything.
We can still have this conversation then. Okay, that's good.
Yes, you can have whatever conversation you want.
I say we leave Drakkenheim and go find new adventures.
Other than that,
I want to go to Skywim.
I mean, you can certainly try.
Oh, Skywim exists. Okay, let's do it.
I mean, if your character survives the trip there.
You've seen into other dimensions already, buddy. I don't know why you would want to try to get to Skyrim.
Skyrim is the one place I haven't been to yet.
No, so part of what I'm worried about with the crown is that I don't know if the Queen of Thieves is capable of getting it, right? Like, if we go and we get it, right, like, we've been pretty successful at doing everything that we're trying to do so far, right? And to think that we could go and get the crown, I think is a realistic thing. Not that it would be easy, but I think it's realistic. I don't know if we can handle... I mean, we couldn't last time with everyone around. I don't know if we can handle the Queen of Thieves and the tricks that she has up her sleeve. So to go and get that first then makes it as easy as robbing us to complete the set, right? Where if we go and take out the Queen of Thieves first, or try and get the seals from her, then we have them all. Then we can address the crown at that point, right? And if we go and we lose the seals that we have, right, and the same thing happens, we get tricked, and like what or something, right? Well, she's got all the seals, but she still doesn't have a crown, and then she'll have to figure that part out, but she hasn't yet, right? No one has, so I don't know. In my head, it seems like dealing with her first is the safer option. But it's 6-1 we have it as the other, right? It's like we have something that is incredibly powerful in our hands, the staff, right? Like, and we are the only protectors of it, and it hasn't got stolen yet. They tried, did not win. So
you also have the Chancellor's Crest.
Yeah, in that too. So we have more than one, but pointing at that one specifically is like that's something that's very powerful. That if we lose that, even without all of the things, with the seals and the crown and all that stuff, and how dangerous it all is together, that on its own is incredibly dangerous. More so, I think, than the rest of them. Immediately, at least it seems like. So,
yeah. My only thing is we know that everything that we've got that is a seal to the city have all provided some sort of from the item. If we get the crown, we don't know if that gives us an advantage over the queen at first, or
it was my understanding that the crown, that none of these things give you power until you attune to them. But the crown you cannot attune to unless you have your the group put together of all of the other seals.
Oh, like we would need the 6 seals or whatever.
Yeah, I think the six seals are a part of the attunement ritual. I think it's required. So I don't think that unless he explains something different and I missed that having as far as I know, from what I understand.
What was your question?
To attune to the crown, it requires all 6 seals.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So without attuning to the crown, it provides no power. Right. The power only comes from being attuned. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, that point, right?
Yeah. Okay. So rip that idea.
Yeah. Just in the simplest way, to me, it's if we lose to the Queen of Thieves, and we have the crown and 2 seals. She has everything. If we lose to the Queen of Thieves and we have 2 seals but not the crown, she still has to figure that part out.
Right.
And so,
good point.
Whether it's possible and she's just been waiting or not, I would say, well, at that point it's out of our hands, right? Like we lost the stuff, but the not for us. And so, I don't know. That's the only thing that I can think is one reason, the reason for one over the other.
Right. And what? So
I do think that the Queen of Thieves is scarier than the castle right now. Just because I don't know what's in there, but we have dealt with her directly, and it has never gone well with her.
Sure.
And we have been in the haze in some very scary situations, but we've managed to do well. So, don't know.
Right.
All right.
Well, hang on. No, so go ahead. Sorry.
No, you raised a good point, but yeah, I mean,
I did have an idea. What if there is other cool? What if there's other cool shit in the castle?
Other cool stuff in the castle.
right?
Yeah.
Like the crown specifically doesn't provide us anything until
So we get all the seals and
until
stuff.
we have all of the seals. But there is very possibly other things that are there.
We have
Right.
2 or we have 3?
We have 2.
We have 2. We have the
And
Chancellor's.
the queen has
Crescent thing.
3.
We have 2. She has 3, and one of them is
Okay.
missing. However,
Okay.
I have a hunch that she has the 4th one too. So I do think that this is the last 2. Like, there's 3 groups of things. There's the crown, there's our 2 things, and there's her 4 things. And from what I can, from what I can deduce from our last interaction with her and everything else.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, cool and powerful stuff would obviously make, the Queen situation or the Queen of Thieves situation easier. Assuming that there's going to be something else in the castle besides just the crown.
Yeah. Now, going back, so if we go to the castle and we get all of the stuff and we are worried about ending the world because we showed up on her doorstep with everything that she needed, while we're there, we could look at finding a place to stash the crown. If we can get it and get out, but leave it somewhere that's relatively dangerous, right? For someone who doesn't know where it is. They're not gonna, I don't believe that there's a way that they could spy on us. They're not gonna have someone following us in there, right? Like, that's not, so if we can take it, find a hidden room or something where it's like, I know where the crown is, and if I can sneak around, I don't have to deal with anybody to get to it, right? Like, if it's on, say the king is some big monster now, and he's got the crown, we have to kill him or steal his crown and hide it somewhere or whatever, right? If we get the crown off of him, but then don't bring it back with us, put it somewhere that we know where it is, that we can get back to. It won't be a walk in the park because it's in the haze, right? But it's still safer than on our own person,
right?
And no one would know. Just be us that would know, and so we would just have to make sure that nobody can read our minds, right? That would be, or compel us to speak the truth of where it's hidden. That would be something else. Now then, that would mean we'd have to go to the castle twice, which is not fun. But that is an alternative to, let's go to the castle first, but then still not show up with everything. I don't trust the crown in anybody else's hands. I wouldn't, if we took it out the castle, it would have to stay with us, I think. But,
right.
But maybe we don't take it out the castle. I don't know. It's the only other idea I had that would make this seem safe. Because I do think that showing up with all of the pieces that she's missing is
probably not the best idea.
Unless we knew that we could take her down, which I just don't know.
Yeah. I mean, my vote would be to make our way to the castle and discover the crown, and maybe they were wrong about that seal, and there's another seal inside that castle.
Yeah, true.
And maybe we find some stuff that just help us in general.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also keen to go and visit the castle.
Castle.
Two castle, 3 castle.
Let's go.
Everyone, put your hands in.
1, 2, 3, castle.
3 castle.
Castle.
Let's go.
DM, we're going to the castle.
Okay. For the time being, it is middle to late afternoon. After your impromptu meeting with Lucretia Matthias and her entourage of Falling Fire members. And shortly thereafter them leaving, you can see just inside the courtyard, speaking with his two lieutenants is Elias Drexel, and not too far away from that, stepping away to converse with River, the tiefling mage. You see Eldrick Runeweaver, accompanied by his large shield guardian as well. Not unlike the ones that you fought within the base of the inscrutable tower. Very similar of design, but this one perhaps a bit newer in its construction, but very similar in its overall function. That seems to accompany him like a construct guardian. Is there anyone you would like to speak with and converse with in regards to your plans or discuss or further information you'd like to gather before the day is out? Additionally, Tim, you still have one level of contamination. Just be aware.
That's right.
So,
Forgot about that.
yeah, if you take a long rest, you'll need to make another Constitution save and potentially become more contaminated. So that is a matter you would need to address if you would like to, or you can continue to roll contamination.
I didn't get anything cool from this level.
Okay.
No, you didn't have a mutation this round, unfortunately.
That does bring up a good point. Do we know the level of haze within the castle? Or are we just...
You are aware that just from line of sight, it is definitely within the deep haze.
Okay.
Do we still have hold on one second. I know we don't have the Expurgo because that was only the one thing, but do we have
I think you each still have a use of Aqua Expurgo.
Oh, okay. I didn't oh, yep, no. Yep, we do. Okay, rad. Okay, cool.
We got some just in case, I think, and then we ended up not needing it.
Rad. Okay, cool. Then never mind. Yeah, so we're good. That answers my question.
But yeah, from what I recall from our conversations earlier, with Elias Drexel, was that the castle's in the castle is the highest concentration of
the deepest of.
Yeah, it's the highest concentration of haze.
Outside of the crater, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So it's gonna be nuts.
Yeah. And
it's gonna be really tough.
Really tough. So I guess the only person that I would maybe want to speak with would be Elias Drexel, or anyone that has previously maybe been to the or has knowledge of the like layout of the castle.
Okay.
That way we at least have like some sort of idea about possibly where like the I guess throne room would be.
How much would I remember of the castle, JJ?
Give me a history check.
Okay. This is going to be a 4. Memory's not too great.
You remember it's really big and very complicated and very old.
That's what she said.
After we do Balsamic's beat, I probably want to go talk to I might want Rivers here, right? Major Rivers at the
yes,
right?
Both River and Eldrick are there.
All right, cool. Yeah, I probably want to chat with them, kind of like inquire about the same thing, like do they know anything about it? Anything, anything that might help.
Sure. Give me just one moment here. I gotta find something. Is this the one I'm looking for? I think it is. Oh, no, don't do that. All right. So which of you would like to go first? Do you want to speak with Eldrick and River, or do you want to speak with Elias Drexel first?
I'll can go first. You mentioned his thing first. Yeah.
I
Okay.
guess I'll go over and speak with Elias.
You approach Elias, who's speaking with Petra and Ansem, the two twins, his two lieutenants, and his adoptive children. They are discussing matters of security, infiltration, and dispersal of information. You've noticed in the past, well, since arriving back, obviously, you were much more heavily scrutinized, despite your reputation here with the Hooded Lanterns being quite good at this point. You can see that everyone's pretty much on a heightened alert, or some sort of continuous edge, you could say, with the fact that people have gone missing out in their patrols. Others have still disappeared and have not arrived back to check in recently, or have shown signs of confusion. And you can see that just overhearing that people have information is becoming more tight-lipped at this point. And that seems to be the general discussion that you overhear as you approach between the Lord Commander and his two lieutenants, that they are doing everything they can to try to mitigate any lost information or any infiltration by spies. And given your experience with the Queen of Thieves, they are quite adept at infiltrating places where they should not be by a number of different methods. And in addition to that, removing any and all traces of said infiltration.
Mm-hmm.
But what particular question do you have for Elias as you approach?
Is it in a private spot, or is it out in the open?
No, currently you're out in the open of the courtyard.
Okay, I'm gonna ask him if when he has a moment, if we can have more of a private conversation as to not let information slip at all.
Okay. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Give me just a moment to finish up directing my two lieutenants, and we'll take a step up back to the office. Or perhaps in the blacksmith's quarters, where it's quite loud to begin with. That should cover up any potential eavesdroppers.
I'm gonna say sure, and then just stand there with my arms folded and and just wait.
Sure. It's a few more minutes before he waves you over and begins walking towards the blacksmith's area. You can see that Tobias Crow is not there, but there's another blacksmith currently tending the forge. As you two approach, you can see the blacksmith stands up at attention, and he orders the individual to continue with what he's working on, but to halt anyone that might enter in, as he escorts you deeper into the storage area of the smithy. You can see that there are a number of long swords, axes, a bit of armor, most of which is leathers and lighter armors, but also a number of horseshoes, arrow tips, things of that nature, just general tools of war and battle, but nothing of substantial, army level implements of war.
Sure.
Do you have a question, Mr. Cedric?
I suppose a question of sorts. Do you know anyone that might have more of an idea about the layout of Castle Drakken, by chance?
Well, the only man that would have had a better understanding of the castle than myself would have been the steward, who went missing the same day as the former king. But is there a particular need for this information? What might I ask, or at least inquire, what your plans are?
Well, not necessarily looking for a lecture or advice or any sort of sway one way or the other, but me and my group are on pretty decent authority, and as you've seen in the past, we have been able to hold our own in a lot of cases and situations.
Certainly.
And I believe that our next step, in order to go ahead and tend to this issue of information leaving the barracks and hopefully save more men than would have already been lost, is to possibly make our way to said castle.
You're planning to head to Castle Drakken?
Yes, precisely.
I imagine at some point we'd have to head towards there, and I imagine this has something to do with the Crown of Westermar.
Perhaps. We're not exactly sure if it's going to be there or what we
That's
might
a
be
fair
able to
point.
find. But we think that the sooner we get information, the better it would be against the Queen of Thieves.
Of course. I wouldn't recommend spending too much time in there. We've had reconnaissance teams try to travel to the castle on multiple occasions over the years with little or no success. I can say that what I do recall and what little information came back from those who survived, that simply entering by means of the main gate would be a dangerous endeavor in and of itself. There are untold atrocities heading into the castle. As far as what has become of the castle itself inside, we have yet to confirm. But as far as its former layout, the main entrance, of course, is leading up the castle steps and through the main garden and through the frontal courtyard is one such location. Then there's, of course, the royal suites at the top of the castle that you could potentially try to, if you had some means of flight, that might be an easier endeavor. But there's the chance that the castle's magical defenses might activate, as those protecting the walls of the city have also gone rogue over the years.
Magical defenses? What exact kind of magical defenses?
Perhaps you've seen the gargoyles all across the parapet walls of the city, correct? The many statuettes and decorations, if you will, for the common folk, but for those in the know, those are no mere decorations. If one were to try to assault this city, it has been magically fortified for nigh 100 years. those gargoyles, these stone dragons, or stone wyverns rather, and of course, if it still is operational, the mechanical bronze dragon that guards the castle itself. All of these are a network of constructs and creatures set forth over many years in collaboration with the Amethyst Academy to protect the city. Some set up by the original founding members of the Von Drakkens, and then later further amplified by the Von Kessels.
Sure. And do you know anything about what exactly triggers these, or if there's any way to maybe slip by or make sure that it doesn't trigger against the group if there was maybe...
One would require the use and success, mainly the use of one of the seals of the city. To fully deactivate and take control of these defenses, one would have to have the authority of the crown. However, the small council does have some minor authority of these constructs. Now, they sometimes have, especially with the current situation, the city has essentially been under a disaster, so these creatures are seemingly acting on impulse and primal function at this point. But the few experiences I've had since the fall of the city have been, they can be coerced, at least temporarily, to shut down with the use of one of the seals.
And what seal was that? I'm sorry.
Any of the seals of the city.
Any of the seals?
Yes.
Okay.
The authority of the small council is tantamount to the given authority of the monarch. They are the acting monarch's most trusted individuals within the city of Drakkenheim, and therefore they carry the authority to act in the monarch's stead should they need to. But given the current circumstances of the city, the disastrous nature of this catastrophe, it is not a sure sign that these constructs will obey, but a stronger possibility, rather. And from personal experience, I have seen this work with my own eyes.
Have you been to the castle since the fall?
I have not, unfortunately. The one expedition that we were able to make to the north side of Queen's Park Garden, we came across a number of giant-like creatures in the courtyards leading up to the castle, and we were forced to retreat, having lost nearly a third of our forces at the time. Being devastatingly crippled in number, we made a mad retreat back to the barracks.
Sure.
Since then, the haze has more than overcome that region as well, and its density has increased tenfold. So the likelihood... Go ahead.
It might seem like a bit of a fool's errand, but if you were to take your men back to the castle, what would be your actual plan of approach for perceived success?
I would try to go either avoiding the main gates and minimize casualties. So either overhead or under through one of the service entrances. Neither is a foolproof solution, but certainly better than a head-on approach to the castle itself. And given the density of the haze in that region, perhaps the overhead approach might be in your best interest overall. But you'd need to have some means of flight.
Yeah. You wouldn't happen to know anyone that might be able to assist with that, would you?
Well, we have quite the plethora of Academy mages here. They would be ones you'd want to speak to in regards to, assisting with any type of magical transportation.
This is all good information to have. I think I need to talk with the group again. I think it goes without saying, keep this close to the chest and don't let the idea of it out if you can avoid it.
Of course.
But I appreciate the time. I know it's quite busy around here with everything that's happened.
If others were to ask at a later time, and uncertainty abound, simply remember, in the name of my King Ulrich. And you can see he makes a salute with his hand across his chest.
I'm just gonna nod and say, thanks. I don't know what to do with that. Yep.
He nods back to you without saying anything else. And then begins to head towards his two lieutenants, who are issuing orders to the various groups of soldiers on the parapet walls of the barracks, as well as those gathering supplies for routine reconnaissance through the city.
Cool. I'm gonna go back and see if I can find everyone in a group to possibly share information.
Okay.
I don't know if everyone's still together or if during this Tim was starting to try to find other people and make his way. I didn't know if it was kind of Simo situation.
That's up to y'all. Tim?
Yeah, I mean, I figured it probably makes sense if we went at the same time.
Okay. As Cedric goes off to speak with the Lord Commander, you head in the direction of Eldrick and River, who are conversing not too far off in the courtyard. As you approach, you can hear Eldrick. Watch as River nods in your direction, and Eldrick turns to greet your presence as well. Is there something I can help you with, Tim?
Yeah. So me and the guys are going to be doing something very stupid. And I'm curious, what do you know, if anything, about Castle Drakken?
It's not exactly my area of expertise, but I can certainly try to... I've only been to the the castle interior a small number of times, usually on special occasions prior to the fall of the meteor. The last time I remember, it was quite a grand courtyard. It's on the apex of the highest elevation of the city, outside of the height of the inscrutable tower. And aside from the tower itself, which was built nigh 1,000 years ago, almost, the castle is the oldest, second oldest structure in this region. Designed and built and bought by the original monarchs of Westermar, the von Drakkens, hence the name. But other than its general historical significance, I'm not as privy to its overall design and layout. I do know that the Academy over many years has developed defenses for the castle and the city as a whole. It's really not my areas of expertise in constructs, but I know there are a wide variety of constructs that effectively protect the city and its walls and its people. And those are exceptionally so at the apex of power, the Castle Drakken.
So, do you happen to know how we might want to possibly deactivate these constructs? Possibly? Hypothetically speaking, if we were to go into Castle Drakken.
Well, if you're looking to deactivate a construct, you generally have to have authority over said construct. It's not something that any old person would be able to do, otherwise the effectiveness of said construct would be severely diminished. So my understanding is that the city's defenses as a whole would likely be under the authority of its ruler, and anyone that said ruler had given authority to by proxy.
Interesting. Would you say that, that by proxy, by me having the staff, might have any bearing on said constructs? Maybe?
It certainly wouldn't hurt. It is, in addition to being a powerful artifact of the Amethyst Academy, it is also a seal of the city of Drakkenheim. So I imagine it would have some sort of sway in regards to the defenses. Now, whether that would have full control or simply a means of delaying any aggressive tendencies of said constructs is hard to measure. Especially in this situation where magic and arcana can be exceedingly volatile given the effects of the haze.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay, I think that gives me enough insight for what I need. Do you happen to know or heard any possible whispers or rambling of anyone or anything that might still be residing in the castle?
No one that I know of in 15 years has gone to Castle Drakken and survived.
Great! Alright. This is gonna be a fun time tomorrow. Okay, well, Thank you for your time, and I hope I will return.
You feel his hand grasp your shoulder, Tim, as you turn to walk away. Tim, I must insist that you keep in mind that you're an important member of the Academy now, and you must conduct yourself as such. In addition, you bear with not only a seal of the city of Drakkenheim, but a powerful artifact of the Academy. Please keep that in mind and don't go about losing said implement. You've been entrusted, at least for the time being, by the Directorate as its keeper. But know that that privilege can be revoked at any time. So please act with caution and care.
You got it. It's not like I already lost it once before. Okay, thanks so much. All right, I'll see you later.
Okay. After your discussions with two representatives of two different groups here within the city, as you reconvene together with your party, what do you discuss?
I learned something very valuable and very exclusive. I'm not sure a lot of people know about this, but at the castle there are these constructs of sorts. And we might have the ability to deactivate them, but that is not something that I am necessarily to. I just know that our seal probably has some sort of property that might be able to disable these things temporarily, but we are going to need to be smart about how we actually approach the situation.
Why do you say that? I too heard the same thing. So I wonder, having two make our chances twice as good as possibly stopping these constructs, and twice as good as hopefully not dying.
Two is better than one. Oh, Tim, did you learn anything about the castle itself outside of that magical property? Anything related to layout or severity of danger?
No, unfortunately, no one really knows who when I spoke with them, there's really no information. And I even asked, because they had really never been there outside of one or two things from prior before the fall, but yeah, I didn't get much, and they don't even know what possibly could even be residing in there. So we're gonna be walking into an absolute shit show, I'm sure.
Cool. The only thing that I was able to gather was possibly, instead of going, I guess, to the castle, it might be better to go over the castle. Now, there could, of course, be things that we'll need to contend with if we take care of that, but possibly going over the walls into the more of the maybe parapets or turrets might be better than going head on. So possibly for tomorrow, that might be a decent idea to think about.
Okay.
Hmm.
So you say over? I just want to make sure I heard that right. You said over?
I
Heard over.
that would make sense that you heard over. I said over the castle walls. And you're pretty in tune with the academy. Would you happen to know anything that could possibly give us that advantage of flight, perhaps?
I mean, I could ask. Silly enough, I didn't think that way that one through, to be honest with you. But
I want to look up something before I actually say. I want to look something up with my character.
Just 1 second.
You can mutate wings. That would be the coolest thing.
Well, I have a really fucking stupid idea, and this is a really cool if Stopper's gonna let me do it.
Okay, I'm here for it. What is it?
okay, so hear me out.
Okay.
So while we don't have something that may necessarily bring us over, get us over the wall in a traditional sense, I have something that could get us possibly over it, just to where we need to go. What if we, I don't know, put a dimensional door in the sky and drop down?
You can do that too?
My staff does let me do a lot of cool things. It does speak to me. There's just been no real neat thing to do dimension door with, but I mean, it is an option. We could do this, and then I can cast a feather fall and hopefully not die, or I can prop the door right at the top of the wall. As long as I can see it, we can probably do that.
Sorry about
That's certainly an option. I didn't know that, and I didn't think about it. I also can go ahead and cast a dimension door and get us over, or we can chain them in some form or fashion if we need to. But that's not something I had necessarily thought of in the past. Certainly a possibility.
So the max range of Dimension Door is 500 feet.
Mm-hmm.
That would still require you to get very close to your destination before you could use it.
Mm-hmm.
So just keep that in mind. I know in the general understanding of like a D&D battlefield, a lot of things are judged within, 30 or 60 feet of each other. But this is a very large structure that's been, and you would understand this as well, Tim, based on what Eldrick and River had discussed with you. In addition to what was confirmed by you, Cedric, that this structure has been well and truly fortified for not only physical assault, but magical assault. So not that Dimension Door is perhaps as common as like Misty Step or invisibility or things like that, but it's common enough that a competent designer of magical defenses would probably have something in mind. That it could certainly help your situation, but you still are confined to the 500-foot maximum range.
Sure.
In addition, you can only carry one person at a time alongside yourself, so you would both need to do it simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like you could leapfrog with each other because you could only move one or two at a time.
True. I mean, yeah.
What was that, Giorgio?
I said it was ambitious.
Just thinking. Trying to think.
Yeah. Yeah, I get us wanting to keep this under wraps as much as we possibly can, but any sort of assistance that we might be able to get from the academy, and not, wanting to necessarily put you out there, but it might have benefit, especially if we can save any sort of skills later on.
I could talk to River. Yeah, I could talk to River again and see what we can possibly do if to do something wacky to get in there.
Just something a little silly.
I gotta go to the bathroom real quick, and then we can pick back up on it. Whatever we're gonna do.
Okay. If we need to take a little bio break, by all means.
I just got to look after my cat, so that might be perfect timing.
Okay. Yeah, we can go ahead and take a little 5-minute break if you guys want to. When we left off at our break, you all had reconvened. It's now just on the cusp of dusk. You've discussed with Eldrick and River, as well as Elias Drexel, some of the options of potential reconnaissance of Castle Drakken for the first time in countless years. Discussing with Eldrick and Elias, you realize that there perhaps are multiple entrances into the inner workings of the Castle Drakken, but each comes with its own potential pitfalls and potential dangers. Elias had recommended perhaps trying to go over instead of directly passing through the exterior walls of the Castle Drakken. If you all see the map here, you can see, based on the map that you have, it does show the main body of the castle itself, which extends to the highest point of the cliffside here. There's quite it's about a 120-foot cliffside on the northeastern corner, pretty much due north of the city of Drakkenheim. But this is a large, 120, 130-foot cliffside that falls off into the forests on the outer edge of the city of Drakkenheim on the north side. And then kind of climbs up in elevation or descends in elevation as you head back towards the center of the city. But surrounding it, not unlike the main parapet walls surrounding the inner city, you can see that there are similar parapet walls on these raised cliff faces protecting the main castle. These are some of the oldest portions of the city, this being one of the original structures outside of the inscrutable tower here just to the west of Queen's Park Garden. But other than that structure, this is the oldest portion of the city of Drakkenheim. But as sun begins to fall and night takes over, you still have any amount of time you would like to prepare, to discuss what you would like to do. You're in no particular hurry. As you sit down and have a meal in the galley with a number of the hooded lanterns, you can see that there's still a bit of a tension in the air, an uncertainty as individuals have gone missing, some returning, unsure of where they had been for days on end, as they were interrogated and looked over by apothecaries occasionally some looked over by members of the academy for magical contamination or any type of contamination by the city itself, most of which simply don't remember where they were. If they have come back and are occasionally questioned by their peers, but with little or nothing to say. As you all take your meal together, Tim, did you want to try to remove your level of contamination, or are you going to continue to hold on to it and see what fate brings you?
Nah, get rid of that shit.
Okay.
Try.
Okay. You discuss with one of the apothecaries, and they are willing and able to remove your level of contamination. It is replaced with one level of exhaustion as you, prior to rejoining your group, spend about an hour upchucking horrendous liquids of questionable origin. But once you return, exceedingly exhausted from the ordeal of purging the contamination, you no longer have that level, but you do have one level of exhaustion in its stead. But as you sit together at one of the tables, you see that Elias is sort of quietly circling the mess hall, just observing some of the soldiers, occasionally speaking with one of the guards on duty, or with his two lieutenants, Petra and Ansem, having quiet conversations as he observes individuals off and on. It's, like I said previously, a bit of a tense situation, as uncertainty has been well and truly sown within this faction within the city of Drakkenheim by other potential powers. With that in mind, what would you all like to do?
I mean, the only thing I would do is I probably, before we sleep for today, I would probably try to find, what's it called? River again, and just ask if she may know anything about possible secrecy, any type of ways she might know anything about getting the castle.
Okay. It takes you a few minutes, but you do find River and discussing with one of the Hooded Lantern Rangers just about to go on patrol. You can see that she's discussing a shipment of healing draughts and some other supplies as she turns and looks at you. Oh, Tim, is there anything else we can help you with? We're just about to leave Drakkenheim for the time being. It'll be several days before we return.
Glad I caught you then. So had a lot on the mind before. Was racing. Fears of trying not to die. I neglected to ask a very, very easy, but possibly very difficult question. If you happen to know, what's the best way to get it right? I know that we don't really know how the castle is on the inside that we were talking about before, but would you happen to know the best way of getting in without dying? Because the front door is not an option for us, and we're trying to figure it out. And yeah, any help would be great.
Eldrick did mention that you were potentially going on an expedition towards the castle, so I was preemptively primed with trying to come up with a solution. It's questionable not knowing what is going on within that location for many years, but I can certainly say that from a personal perspective, if I'm trying to avoid detection or infiltrating a place I may or may not supposed to be, I try to stay well and truly above line of sight. It tends to be, as I'm sure you remember from your studies, sometimes the simplest solutions are the best. I have a handful of potions that might assist you, and potentially some spells that I could offer to store in your rings for the time being. At a reasonable price, mind you.
I knew it. Always the one with the money. Yeah. Okay.
You are a member of the
Yeah.
Academy, so you do receive a sizable discount. And you are one of my peers, so I'll waive any other potential fees.
I love my MRP card.
But I'll outline a couple of different suggestions.
Do you mind if I bring my friends here? If we can have like a quick little powwow as a group to figure out the best way?
Yes, of course. Let's perhaps do it in a more sight unseen location.
Perfecto.
Alright, so I'm gonna go find my boys.
I'm a chant. Pow wow, pow wow, pow wow. I'm so ready for it.
As you all gather up, escorted just outside the gates of the Hooded Lanterns barracks, as River kind of eyes a more secluded, out of sight location just under one of the walls. You look over as she begins to etch something on the ground, kind of a wide circle, creating about a 15-foot diameter circle with a number of various runes scattered about the exterior. It takes her about 5-10 minutes to set this up, but as she raises her hand, you watch Tim as this sort of dimly lit arcane structure stretches up. Not an overly large structure, but enough that it's comfortable to stand in, even for the tallest of your group. And you watch as she sort of draws her finger across this sort of glossy, light-like wall in the shape of a door, reaching out and pushing it open as she steps in. Come along. No one can hear us inside here. Tim, you would recognize this as the what's the spell I'm trying to think of? It's the not Mordenkainen's Sanctum. It's the lower version of it. I'll think of it later. I forget it. It's completely slipped my mind. But basically, she's created sort of a magical temporary hut, if you will. Yeah, the hut. It ends with that. I forget what it's called. Yeah. Anyway, it's comfortable, but it's about 15 foot in diameter. There's no really where to sit, but you can hear, even with the falling rain around you, you are untouched in this area. The rainfall seems to cascade off of this dimly lit rooftop structure of arcane energy in all directions. As you stand inside, and as she shuts the door behind you, you can hear all sound has pretty much disappeared, other than what you hear inside the hut. That's a bit better. Now, Tim, what the fuck was that?
What the fuck?
Everybody all right?
Yeah, we good? Sounded like something fell on somebody's mic. We good?
Benji, Smudley, it's one of you two. Are you guys okay?
I'm good.
We got a
I'm good.
mute from Benji.
Might be Benji.
Headset maybe got knocked off and is now.
Hello, can you guys
Yeah.
hear me?
Yes, we can hear
yeah,
you. You
you're
good?
right.
All my sound stuff just like reverted back to something else.
Oh,
I'm
Jesus.
good. I'm just trying to figure it out.
Oh my god.
Okay, it sounded like something fell.
Yeah, it sounded like you got hit by a book or something.
It sounded like a fucking.
It scared the
It's trying
shit
to
out
be-
of me.
Oh,
Because right as I was saying, like, all sound has disappeared. Crash! I'm like, what the fuck?
it switched my mic over to my phone.
Hmm.
It was using
Okay.
my phone mic for Discord.
What
Didn't know
the
that was an
fuck?
option.
Okay.
No, we're good now.
All right.
Okay, cool.
Anyway. That interim break brought to you by technical difficulties. River looks at you, Tim, specifically. Of course, the easiest means of remaining undetected, if strategy serves me well, is simply staying above one's line of sight. I can cast a number of uses of flight into your ring of spell storing. What's your current maximum spell level not using the staff, Tim? Like, what's your highest spell tier that you can cast? Is it level 4 or 5?
I think it's 5. 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah, 5.
Okay. So you could, with the 5 rings that you have, you could store up to a 5th level spell in the ring or rings, or you can cast like 1 level 2 and a level 3, or 1 level 4 and a level 1. Does that make sense? Like, but it has to be add up to 5.
Right, yeah.
I could store a use of fly within your ring, but that would only garner you 1 individual. And even if I cast a 5th level fly spell into your ring, it would only allow you to give flight to 2 of your 4 companions, or 2 of your 3 companions. The other option is to potentially cast polymorph into the ring, and one of you could temporarily take a large enough state to carry a handful of you, but given your large size of some of your companions, that may not also be fully effective. The other option is I do have a couple potions of flight. So perhaps a combination of these potions and some spell storing may be enough. The spell itself will only last you an hour, as would the potion, as would the polymorph. So you would be responsible for your own retreat should something occur. And if you were not able to flee the way you came, you would be subject to trying to escape through whatever dangers lay on the ground level of the castle, which doesn't sound like the best solution.
Okay. One idea, but before I get the idea, how many potions do you have?
I currently have 3 potions of flying.
Okay. Now, you suggested making someone big enough with polymorph. What if we did the opposite? What if we make someone small enough to be in a pocket?
That could work as well.
I'm getting
Thinking
creative
out loud here.
Hell
Getting
yeah.
Creative. I like
Hell
it.
yeah, dude.
There's also the less costly magic enlarge reduce may also serve a similar purpose, which is a bit easier to wield. Now, someone would need to still carry you in some means or fashion. If you were to shrink one or two of your compatriots, while one served as the modus of flight. In fact, give me just a moment here, and you watch as she reaches down into her bag, her arm descending far beyond the what appears to be the outward volume of this satchel. Oh yeah, there it is. And you watch as she reaches out and she pulls a similar looking trio of rings to what you have, Tim. Not necessarily as brandished and set with designs like yours and hers, meaning to be a symbol of association with the Academy, but of a similar design and make, and you can sense that there is some sort of magic enchantment upon this trio of rings. This is a more crude version that I made many years ago, but it should still function in the same effect, and can store up to a level 3 spell. I'm willing to part with it as I don't need it any longer. If one of your other companions wants to utilize this as a means of spell storing as well.
I think that'd be for you, Cedric. You're the only other spell-inclined guy here.
Well, if you or myself were to cast into the ring, anyone could utilize it, whether they have the gift of magical acuity or not.
Ah,
Much like using
Yeah.
a spell scroll or a potion doesn't require one to have an innate understanding of the magical arts.
you're right. My apologies. It's been a very, very long and vomity day for me.
So as I stated, I still have a fair amount of magical reserves that we can use to store some potential spells, as well as the ring of spell storing, and of course these 3 potions of flying, which would not require one to concentrate on the spell while in use. And these tend to last around an hour before fading, so keep that in mind.
All right. Yeah, trying to think. What do you guys want to do? I think we definitely scoop up all the potions from her for the flight for sure.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
What level spell is polymorph?
Polymorph is a 4th level spell.
Okay. And you said I know I can carry one technically. And then what you said the other one was level 3, the ring?
The empty ring of spell storing, the crude ring of spell storing that she has 3 rings on it, meaning it can store up to 3 levels of 3 slots worth of spell levels.
Yeah, that's
So-
why I wanted to make sure. Yeah, okay. All right, so that's not gonna work for the second ring then. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I mean, going in, I think makes sense. Then I think we just take the potions and we just polymorph one of us, and we just fly in. And I think that's what we're gonna have to do, unless anyone else has something.
I'm thinking about the math.
So I believe the largest creature that a polymorph, as far as weight capacity, that has the use of flight, I think is the giant eagle, and I think you could carry, 2 individuals, like medium-sized creatures, before you become encumbered, and would lose the ability to fly normally. But your companions are quite a bit larger than normal medium-sized creatures. So you really would only be able to carry one person in this instance.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking the other way. But what were you gonna say, Georgia?
I was just thinking. So math. So we have the up to a 5th level spell, right?
Yes.
So Tim would have a 5th level ring that's empty, and then the additional 3 level
ring, and then an additional 3 level. So we've got a 5th level fly is 3 of us total, and then a potion of flight is an extra.
Yeah.
But that doesn't get us both ways. So if we store a 5th level flight in the ring, and then when we're ready to go, polymorph someone, shrink it.
Yeah, I think it'd be better for us leaving doing the polymorph, because I don't know if we would know if you can just like break out a polymorph at will.
Yeah.
If you're the one casting it, you can.
If you're the one casting it, you can choose when it actually breaks.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Because you have to hold concentration on it.
It does make sense.
So you could potentially, if you're the one casting it, you could polymorph one person and then use, you would polymorph somebody else. I don't know if you can polymorph yourself and break it automatically. That's a good question.
You polymorph someone else, and then whenever you land, you're just like, all right, I cancel the polymorph.
Yes, you drop concentration and it ends.
Okay.
Or if you get hit and lose a con save, then it would drop.
But fly also requires concentration, right?
The spell does. The potion does not.
Yeah.
And if we put it in the ring, it doesn't either.
No.
The person casting it that uses the ring would need to hold concentration.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure what the ring was.
Yes, whenever you use the spell fly, it's a concentration spell.
If we have 3 potions, on the way out, that could work, right? Because we have 3 potions, 3 of us drink potions, and then you use the ring to polymorph the 4th, so your concentration is on polymorph, not on fly. Right? I mean, for either way, it would. But if we can figure out how to get in there without using any of the potions.
Let me see something.
Also, the spell I was trying to think of was Liamit's Tiny Hut. I couldn't remember that. Or Tiny
I
Hut.
don't think I've ever heard of that.
You never heard of Tiny Hut? That's a
don't
pretty
think so.
common one. Yeah. I kept wanting to say Mordenkainen's Magnificent Mansion, but that's not it. That's the bigger, badder version
It's a
of
different
Tiny
house.
Hut. Yeah. That's like a mansion.
Well, at first I thought you were talking about Sanctuary too.
No, not Sanctuary. That's a cleric only spell. Or a cleric only spell.
Yeah.
No, Tiny Hut is it's a 10-foot radius, but whatever. It doesn't change the fact that why they were using it.
Well, my thought is, I understand we want to have the easy exit, but at the same time, I feel like that this is a hypothetically speaking type thing. Is that if we get in here and whatever the fuck we're dealing with is gonna have this crown, right? Like if we are really gonna fucking do this, we are gonna get this crown, we're gonna do this fight whole thing. If we end up being successful, my thought is, okay, then we technically don't need a quick escape if it goes that way, because then hopefully, if everything from what we heard with the constructs is what we're hearing, if we have the crown, the constructs should fucking listen to what we're doing. Whereas what we're gonna do going in, it's just like a temporary thing, like it's like a 50-50 shot of us like temporary stopping it's gonna work. So we may not need to blow all of our shit when we leave. It's just getting in is the problem, is my thought. Because I mean, really, the way it sounds like the way we're talking, at least in my mind, and I'm not the best with this type of stuff, it's really we're gonna have an easy way in or we're gonna have an easy way out. It's one or the other.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Also, to
we
use the
won't be able
crown,
to
you
tune the
must be
crown.
attuned to it.
Yeah, we won't be able to tune to the crown, so using it to disable on the way out.
Fuck,
would
you're
work.
right. Yeah. Well, here. This is my other thought of it too. You're right that we're not going to be attuned to it, but my other thought is possibly if we take the crown from whatever it is, does it still work when it's not on them? So while we may, like, who know? I mean, I don't know. I'm just thinking, like, what if we take it? It's like we take the crown. Okay, what? Maybe everything stops.
Oh,
like,
then
it's
they just lose their
right. We may not be able to attune. We can at
Oh,
least
yeah.
stop at least what's
Yeah,
happening.
that's the
Like
power
that's
sword.
that's I guess. I don't know. Just trying to figure it out.
I mean, it's not the craziest thing, man. Like,
I've seen enough movies where that's how it goes down.
true, yeah.
Yeah. For on the way out, so we were talking about earlier Dimension Door, and that was not really possible because we can't. I mean, because we're not like there. But I mean, if we're in it, can we use it to leave?
Yeah.
Like,
The
I mean, just to
restriction is
get out,
500
just to get.
That's true. Yeah, I
just like
mean,
if, I don't know. I mean, I have no idea what it's like if there's a safe place that we can stand and see, and just teleport around them. Whereas getting over them is too dangerous.
Right.
Leaving might not be.
Yeah, because if we both use it, I mean, giving us 500 feet, even if it's down that cliff, is.
You also don't need line of sight for Dimension Door. Just to be clear on that one, Dimension Door doesn't require line of sight. But if you end up in a wall because you're not paying attention, then you would take damage.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, yeah. I think getting in is probably the harder of the two, and so if we, like you guys were saying, focus on getting in, and then no, maybe we don't even make it out. You never know, but then we can kind of go from there. Hello?
I heard you.
Sorry.
I'm just
Yeah, we heard you.
thinking.
It said that it switched back over to no. It said that detected my phone again as a possible input and output device. I don't know if it switched to that. I don't get it.
Also, Spudley, how are we looking on time for you?
Yeah, I've got about like an hour. Or so, yeah.
Okay. Well, what's it gonna be, boys?
Yes.
I say, all right, River, we're gonna take all your potions of flight and let's load up.
Oh, you know what? Shit, I just thought about this. That's not gonna work. I thought about we can possibly load a 5 and or no. Never mind. That was stupid of me to think that. Shit. All right, definitely that, and then you guys want to do the polymorph, I guess? Because if our plan is that we're going to dimension door out,
Yeah.
then that's fine, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So let's do that. Let's take all your potions of flight and then load up my ring with polymorph. I think that's what we're gonna do.
Okay. The casting of polymorph in your ring will be a total of 200 gold, and each one of the potions of flying will be 150.
Oh,
Not too bad.
So in total, it'll be
650.
650, yes.
Okay.
Good. I mean, so what would that be, like 160 something? 163 a person?
Yeah, you're rounding up. Yeah. 162.5.
Yeah, I mean, I'll.
Yeah, pitch in.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, let's do it.
Fair enough. She hands over the potions to you, the 3 potions of flight. And then Tim, you watch as she begins to mutter the incantation over your hand, specifically over the ring, as you begin to see the metal hum and buzz a bit as it begins to heat up a small amount before growing cold once more. But you see just faintly over the edge of the metal various runes across 4 of the 5 knuckles of your ring of spell storing. And you have a charge of polymorph. So I was looking up the spell as well. So you could carry more as one of the larger birds of flight, but you would just be limited in your speed. So you could still technically fly, you just wouldn't move as quickly.
Okay.
Because I think, what's the speed of the giant eagle, which I think is the largest, fastest bird that you can use for polymorph. What's the flight speed? So if you were carrying more than the recommended, what is the carrying weight? I don't think it tells me. Shit. It is a large creature. So I think a large creature can carry up to 500 pounds. I don't know what the combined weight of, like, say, Georgio and Cedric would be.
Ew.
Does it say how much
okay.
your character weight? Like, I know it says how much, like it says weight carried for me, so I don't know where you see how much you actually weigh it yourself.
That is a good
You'd have to
question.
just put it into the background. I had mine listed at 300 pounds.
Oh yikes!
Yeah.
I
So
think mine
between
was around
7 and
there,
8
too.
feet tall, between 280 and 340 pounds apiece.
I
Yeah, so-
believe I'm larger than you are.
In game or in real life?
In
What
the
are we
game.
talking
Well, probably
about?
maybe both, but
Okay.
I think if I'm at 300, you would be on the lower end of.
Yeah, I thought I had it written, but no, that's fine. I don't have appearance information. I have 300 pounds listed for my thing.
Yeah,
for characteristics.
the maximum of the giant eagle is about 500 pounds.
My weight carried is 158, but I don't know how much I weigh.
You're also going to be huge.
I think you would be a standard. You'd be a medium creature. I don't think you'd be quite as big as a Goliath. 250 to 350 is the Bugbear's average weight.
Damn, bugbears are dense.
Yeah. Big guys.
So the giant eagle could potentially carry 2 of you, and it would reduce the fly speed to 40 feet per round, as opposed to its normal 80-foot speed. But you could still technically fly. So, is there anything else that you might need? If carrying capacity is a potential hindrance, you do have one more spell slot. Or you do have the ring of spell storing as well. You could potentially store a use of enlarge reduce, or to lower your cut your weight in half, or store an extra use of flight, or let's see here, what else we got? Because I think enlarge reduce is a 2nd level spell.
If anything, I can put that in my my other ring, because that's not touched. Well, not mine, but we have that level 3 one, so we could throw it in there.
Well, you haven't bought the level 3 one yet.
Oh, right, sorry. Okay, I misunderstood what she's given. Yeah, okay. I mean, either way, we can still do that if you guys want to do that. It's up to you. I don't know.
If you'd like the ring, I'll even throw in a level 2 spell slot for free, or spell casting for free. The ring itself will be 300 gold. But potentially either you or Tim could potentially use this in the future should you have extra reserves at the end of the day. Cast this, the night before, and then give yourself some extra oomph the following day.
I don't know, man. The more that I think about it, the more I think our original plan was probably just the more beneficial one.
Which one?
But-
The door one?
I was gonna say,
No,
we got some,
not that original one. No, just doing the having the 3 potions and then the polymorph of possibly looking at it to actually shrink and take someone in.
Yeah, let's not worry about getting the other ring. We don't have to worry about this one then. Let's just stick with that.
Yeah.
Well,
No, I think we're good, River.
okay. I wish you all the best of luck. You're going to need it in that location. You're probably going into one of the most dangerous places in the entire continent.
Especially now that we're gonna be there, right, guys?
You idiot.
We're probably gonna die.
Just be careful around any of the potential defenses. I'm not 100% certain, as I'm not fluent in a lot of the construct enchantment, but given that this city has lasted as long as it has, hundreds of years, I would imagine that the accumulated defenses, especially around the castle, are quite formidable. And that's assuming that's the only thing lurking around that castle.
Oh, I'm sure there's plenty of fun that's gonna be there.
That's not a safe assumption.
Well, if that's everything you all need, we'll go ahead and wrap up this little business transaction. And you watch as she raises her hands, and the walls and the roof of the tiny hut begin to dissolve as the rain pitter-patters down through the gaps and eventually begins to slowly trickle down onto you all as the tiny hut dissolves into the night air. Good luck, gentlemen. As she
Appreciate it always, River.
nods to you all and begins to head back into the central portion of the barracks. With that, is there anything else you all would like to do? Prepare, discuss, communicate with others, more information you'd like to gather before the night is well and truly over?
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm pretty overwhelmed with information as it is.
Yep.
Yeah, fine on my end.
Okay. You all take your rest in the lower levels of the Hooded Lantern's barracks. Below the effects of the haze, you sleep off your fatigue, but what felt like days trapped within the Black Ivory Inn, as well as the various strange and horrifying things you've seen now, yet again, traveling through deeper parts of the city of Drakkenheim. But nevertheless, the fatigue takes you and you sleep soundly, waking up the following morning to a early and foggy morning. The rain has stopped, but it is a dense fog that scatters across the city in these non-rainy days. It's as if the weather itself has seemingly forsaken this part of the world. As you all gather yourselves, gather your things, and gather your courage, what would you all like to do? Do you intend to make a portion of the trek on foot, or do you intend to fly directly towards the Castle Drakken.
I kind of want to wait for a good omen. You know, today it seems like a bad day.
But are there really good
Go back
days
to
in
sleep.
Drakkenheim?
True.
There's just less bad days.
We're gonna get closer to the castle, and just lightning bolts are gonna be shooting everywhere.
What's my fortune cookie say?
Roll me a d20. Eh?
Fuck you. It literally says EH question mark.
Yeah.
That's it.
Eh? I just realized we made fortune cookies canon in the world of Drakkenheim.
Hell yeah, dude.
This is tough.
So where exactly are we? Are we? Because I always forget. We're like by like section like 9 on the map, or are we?
Yes. Yeah, you
Right,
are
okay,
at number
that's right.
9 as the barracks.
Okay. And if we were to fly, I mean, how long would it roughly take? I mean,
20, 25 minutes, maybe. Not even 20
All right.
minutes. The fly spell lasts an hour.
yeah, so that's definitely enough time. Also, I looked at my inventory. I looked at my inventory this morning when I woke up just to make sure I have everything. Fun fact, guys, I actually still have a potion of flight on me that I never used. So we have one.
Hey!
We
Wow,
have
what a way to
one.
just
This
suddenly break
guy.
this in.
So that's a backup, just in case.
Just
By the way, guys, I
Harboring
had a
it the
wish
whole
spell
time.
this whole time.
that's it. Just like, oh shit. Sorry, God.
Yeah, because I think I got it prior to when we actually went into the tower, but because I'm a sniper with my spells, I didn't really need to actually pop it when all that shit was going down. So I actually never used it.
Well, sometimes hoarding magical items and potions is a good thing.
Real quick, what's the name of the rings that because I don't have them in my inventory. I want to make sure I add them and note them for what they are.
It's a ring of spell storing.
So, okay, here we go. And what was the other one?
What do you mean, other one?
Oh no, sorry, I forgot. I didn't get that one. Never mind. My bad. All right, then we're good.
You mean
I
the
got it.
extra one? Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
same
but-
thing. It's just
Oh, okay.
It's just for flavor purposes. I said it was cruder looking than the ones. Gotcha. That every mage of the academy has those rings, and the number of rings that they carry on them signifies the level of spells that they can cast. Currently, you have 5 rings as a mage that can cast 5th level spells. So you have a ring of spell storing up to 5th level. But with that, what would you all like to do? You are currently in the Hooded Lantern's barracks. The other thing you must keep in mind is you're potentially flying in or walking into the deep haze. You currently have each a use of Aqua Expurgo.
Okay. And each use lasts an hour?
Aqua Expurgo lasts 8 hours.
Lasts 8 hours. Okay, so we're good. So we just fucking.
But it has 3
Put this one.
charges, and after the 3rd charge is spent, it is gone, and you are at the full brunt of the deep haze. So you can choose to. So every so often, periodically, while in the deep haze, you need to make Constitution saving throws against. You have advantage on them while you're under the effect of Aqua Expurgo. But should you fail, you can choose to expend one of the charges to not fail it and gain a level of contamination, or but you have to keep in mind, once you've used that 3rd one, you become incapacitated, and you will start having to make con saves every round. So it's kind of a catch-22. Once it runs out, you're at the full, force of the deep haze. So it's kind of, do I spend the charges sparingly, or do I blow them in an instance? Because there are other things that can cause contamination as well, that the Aqua Expurgo has preventive effects against. It's not necessarily when you have to make con saves just to the haze.
That's interesting.
But that is for you each individually to decide how you want to use what you've been given as far as implements, supplies.
What if we're already contaminated? Can we take the Aqua Expurgo?
Yes, you can still take it, but that doesn't remove the level of contamination.
That you have, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and each level of contamination has more detrimental effects. And once you gain 6 levels, you mutate it into a monster. And you essentially die. So
That's
it's...
not what we want.
Yeah, it's similar to the exhaustion mechanic. When you gain 6 level, there's different varying levels of exhaustion. If you get to level 6, you die instantly.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Okay.
But with that, you still stand in the center of the Hooded Lantern's barracks. Your reconnaissance destination, the ominous, looming Castle Drakken at the highest point in the city, the northernmost point of the city, having not been infiltrated in well over a decade. At least
Okay,
not
I'm
that
gonna
you're
be honest.
aware of.
I think I'm gonna hold off on taking mine straight away. I'm gonna tell the squad.
Okay.
But at this point, I'm going to ask you guys to decide. Do you want to fly straight from here, or do you want to get closer to the
My vote's
castle?
for get closer. I'll say that. I do remember you asking.
Yeah.
My vote's for get closer before we fly.
Yeah,
It's,
same.
we have flight for an hour, right?
Yes.
It's the same
And-
reason I don't want to take my
and-
Expurgo too early.
Yeah, and how long does it take if we flew straight from here, roughly?
Straight from here, probably about 15 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's
That's
closer
plenty
than I
of
thought.
Yeah, it's much closer than I thought.
Yeah, much closer than I thought.
I mean,
That's what-
you're
that's what
flying
I
at
was
60
saying.
foot per round.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And it's if you take the potions of flight, it's concentration free flight.
Yeah.
Because it's not like the why does that not stay running? Oh, that's why. There we go.
I don't see any reason to not just take off from here. It's like if it was 45 minutes, then it's like, well, we get all the way over there and realize something's wrong. We can't just back out, you know. So maybe we travel around the side a little bit to get, you know, somewhere outside the walls to get closer. But we fly from here, we get close, and it sucks, and we're like, actually, never mind. Then we just fly back. Like, what's, you know.
Right.
I say take off from here because any getting closer is potentially dangerous. I don't want to have to deal with that.
What is everyone's decision?
I'm fine flying, just straight off.
Yeah, I changed my mind. I'm down to fly.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. You each down a potion of flight, feeling the effervescent liquid roll down your throat as you each consume the whole contents of the bottle, feeling yourself a bit lighter than you ever expected. Even those of you who are much larger feel yourself ever so lighter before you look up and then look down, and you're already softly floating just a few inches above the ground. Tim, it's been many years since you've experienced this sensation, but it begins to come back to you quicker than perhaps your companions who have never experienced the sensation of flight before, either assisted or non-assisted flight, I should say. But nevertheless, after a few moments, you feel confident enough to begin ascending high above the walls of the Hooded Lantern's barracks as a number of individuals watch you take off, waving you greetings of luck and encouragement from the various posts along the parapeted walls of the barracks. You ascend higher and higher and higher into the skies above the city of Drakkenheim, now well above the looming fog and haze. At this height, although the air is still contains a bit of moisture of the marine layer that settles over the top of the city this morning, for the first time, it's fresh and clear, unlike the ozone-charged air that you become accustomed to in the haze surrounding the city. It's clear, and you feel bolstered by this sense of clarity as you stare into the distance at this ominous, looming, medieval castle, the Castle Drakken. Almost completely enveloped at this distance by what looks like a deep octarine cloud, moving ever so slowly around the very edges of the large 80-foot parapeted walls surrounding this ancient structure, the origins of the city of Drakkenheim, from where it garners its namesake and its sort of impressive, gaudy, intense motif and skyline. To your left, you can see the crackling energies of the elevated pillared-like structure of the inscrutable tower, the one structure that extends higher than the city or the castle Drakken, high into the air, as you still look up at the broken portion of the inscrutable tower, crackling with arcane and eldritch energies. Around the edge, you can see there's a number of individuals at the highest point of that structure. They seem like little like ants in the distance, even at your high elevation here, as you imagine they're attempting to work on the arcane nexus that is the control center of that structure. But in the opposite direction, far below, you can see the deep octarine clouds surrounding the gardens of Queen's Park. As you soar over that segment, the deeply disturbing, almost whimsical yet terrifying gardens of the city that once served as a source of beauty, now terribly twisted and horrifying in their nature. As you pass over now, just between the castle and Queen's Park Garden, you begin to see now in more detail the thick outer walls of the Castle Drakken. You can see the buttressed towers on the various corners of the structure. And you can vaguely begin to see the rocky edges of the cliffside all around of this ascended structure. You see small buildings and courtyards. What used to be beautiful reception gardens are now overgrown with bramble and strange fluorescent colored foliage. There are paths all around this space leading up to the Castle Drakken, a switchback stair going up the cliffside and wrapping back up to the main portcullis gate at the southern edge of the castle walls. You see from this altitude, there are definitely signs of movement below. If you'd like, everyone can give me a perception check.
That's 21 for me.
Okay.
Mine did not come through, but a 22.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
All of you can see there are several large, if not huge, entities in these courtyards. It's hard to see with the dense fog-like nature of the deep haze, but these creatures are massive. Several 50, potentially 60 feet tall, some of them, as they lumber through this courtyard. Surrounded by smaller entities. Additionally, you see in these courtyards where there once were large man-made ponds and creeks connecting them, the water is deeply purple and black. And in these waters, you see, not unlike the crystals you saw surrounding the inscrutable tower, you see massive, like 7, 8, 9 foot tall crystalline structures that are very evidently solid pieces of delirium. Larger than anything you've seen thus far. And all around them, there's this thrumming hum of energy that seems to be feeding the deep, smoky haze that surrounds this region. As you grow ever closer, tell me, approximately how high up do you think you all would be traveling?
This is no concentration, right? So we don't have to like worry about panicking or anything like that, about being too high. Or
Yeah, no concentration.
I would say I'd want to clear the castle by 100 feet. And I want to be way up there. So, I mean, float above. With the amount of time we have, I was gonna say when we get here, like float above the whole castle and just see, like, look at it from a bird's eye view, and just say, all right, where do we want to go? Where do we want to be?
Okay.
Only as close as we would need to get a good look at it, which may be tough in the haze, but.
As you approach the walls, you can see at the top edges of the highest towers of the Castle Drakken. Along the buttressed walls, not unlike the main walls of the city, you've always seen what looks like decorative creatures, stone structures that are gargoyles and what look like lion-headed, winged cat-like creatures made out of stone, seemingly decoration of an age gone past. You can see, though, with your perception checks, some of these stone structures are beginning to move. You can't quite tell moving where or how fast, but they are definitely shifting and moving. And at the higher points of the towers, you can see there are larger stone structures in the shape of wyverns and young wormlings. Barely old enough to have wings, but still large creatures in their own right. As you get to the outer edge of these walls, closer to the towers, just on the periphery of the vision of these statues, two of them turn. Crumbling rock breaking off of their forms as wings spread wide, their claws releasing their grip on the pointed flag posts that hang high on these towers. The colors of the city long since ripped off by high winds and turbulent weather. Others left in tatters, stained by weather and high winds and ripped to shreds, but still the remains of what used to be the crests of the von Kessel family on these flags. You see two of these wyvern-like statues break free and leap off of their respective perches. As they rise up, you can see now that their heads turn to look at you as you ascend above the top of these towered structures. Around their maws of these stone-eroded teeth, there's a crackling of electrical energy beginning to build and charge in their maws. What do you all do?
We need to decide fast, and I think we probably should just go straight to the ground as quickly as we can.
Yeah.
Either that or leave.
Yeah,
leaving is a great choice, by the way. You could just go to the ground outside of this and then think about it. Or just
Cedric and Tim, As these constructs approach, you recall the statement given to you by both Eldrick and Elias that these defenders of the castle, these defenders of the city of Drakkenheim, are subject to the power of the seals, as well as the crown of the monarch. Mechanically speaking, you can attempt to force a wisdom save on these creatures in order to temporarily subjugate them. They must meet a wisdom save equivalent to your spell save DC.
Okay.
If they succeed, they will continue to approach and assault you. If you succeed if they fail, you can order them to stand down for a total of 10 minutes.
So this is just for like these couple of wyvern-like creatures, or would it be
For any of the constructs.
okay? I mean, yeah, I think I look at Tim. He has the stat. Which one of us actually has the
That is a good question. Which one of you has the Chancellor's
Steward
seal? It's the Chancellor's
Chancellor's
seal. The Steward seal is the one that you had and was stolen by the
and they
Queen.
got taken away.
Yeah.
Let me check my inventory.
I think it's Chugrulk that has it, but I don't know if Chugrulk ever attuned to it.
Yeah, I don't have the seal.
You got the stat.
You could certainly, I would imagine you would have the opportunity to attune to it if you needed to, knowing that you would potentially need to use it. So whoever has it, if you would like to attune to it, you can certainly do that.
I believe you have it. I believe.
Yeah,
I
it's
was
not in
gonna
my
say-
inventory.
Wait, what was it again?
It's called the Chancellor's seal.
I don't think I had that. I thought you had that. Georgio, I genuinely thought I didn't take that.
Well, I can imagine who would like to have it. Let's just say it that way. Who?
Chancellor's Crest, sorry.
Chancellor's Crest, yes.
Chancellor's Crest. I can't attune to it because I'm attuned to 3 different things. I'd have to decide that. And I think that's why we decided that you would have it, not me.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Because I know I
that's right.
couldn't do it. Yeah.
So I'm guessing, like, I can't attune. Can I attune to this because I've got the sword already, or is that?
You can attune
Yeah,
up to
it's
3
things.
items.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess I'll attune to this then. How long does that take me though? That's the.
I would imagine you could probably do that overnight before you left.
We'll just
So,
retcon that we did it already.
yes.
You did it.
Okay.
Yay.
Hooray!
Attunement.
So, yeah, under your inventory, there's a category that says attunement. So, yeah, just make sure you check mark that.
Check the box in your inventory. That way it like equips it, and then go to the bottom, and you'll see.
And then, so I think I do have it on now.
Okay. Yeah, let me see. Double check attunement. Yeah, Chancellor's Crest. Yeah, you do have it, and you are attuned to it. So, So
yeah. So what's the play here?
You do
Just
not
trying to
have
figure out how this
magic,
works.
so I would say we would use your. We'll use your Constitution in this one. It'd be a against their. It'll still be a Wisdom save for them, but we'll use your Constitution score. So in this case, yours would be a. Let's see, that's 9 plus your that, so it'd be 14, I think. Yeah, 14.
Oh, whoops! I just pressed it by accident.
Well, don't worry about it. Yeah, you're not making this save.
Yeah, my bad. I was just
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
to look at it and
No, it'd be 15. I'm sorry, 15 would be the save that they would need
Actual
to make.
save.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my number at the top of my screen says 16, but I don't really know how.
So saving throws work a little bit different. It's your
Right.
it's your whatever your spell basis is. So fighters don't generally have a like a spell
Right.
saving DC. At least not most fighters. So I'm just making one up on the spot for you.
Yeah, no, that's it. Yeah.
It's a combination of your whatever your spell modifier is would normally be, and then your proficiency bonus on top of it's 8. So it's 8. So 4, 12, 15 would be yours. So it starts at an 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your whatever your spells modifier is. In this case, we're calling it your con score.
Cool.
So, in order to attempt to enforce your will upon these creatures, they need to be within 60 feet of you. You can see at a distance right now, they're about 85 feet off. They are beginning to charge what looks like some sort of electrical energy spooling up in their maw. They also need to be within 60 feet. So, depending on whether or not you are able to subjugate these creatures, will determine whether or not they release those blasts.
Okay.
So, with the two of you, is that what you would like to do? You would like to try to subjugate the creatures?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to roll these on the table. Tim, what is your spell save DC?
1 higher than whatever you roll. Spell save. Hold on 1 second. Spell save.
Yours is up there.
Should be. When you say spell save, it's 18.
18? Okay. So they each have a +2 to wisdom.
What?
They are magically imbued constructs of the city of Drakkenheim.
Yeah, that's fair.
Bullshit.
So they need to roll at least a 16 to succeed. So here we go. Ooh, that was almost an 18. So the first one fails. The second one needs to roll a 13 in order to succeed. Okay. So one succeeds, one fails. You watch as the first, Tim, you outstretch your command. What do you say to this creature in order to subjugate it as it begins to relinquish to your will?
Wait, hold on. Sorry. I just want to double check one thing. You said they both need 16s. Why does the other one need a 13?
Because Chugrulk's is his DC, remember, is only 15.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I misunderstood. Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
I
got
got
a
you.
+2.
Misunderstood. Sorry,
Yeah.
I misunderstood.
You have a
I thought it
higher
was like-
DC because you have a higher modifier.
Got it. No, sorry. Yeah, I thought it was something that they were casting. I'm like, wait, what? That's
Yeah.
why I misunderstood. Sorry.
No problem.
Okay. What do I say? I just put my hand out and I just yell, halt.
You watch as the energy crackling in its maw dissipates into the fog as it halts and just hovers in the air about 60 feet back. The other, Chugrulk, you reach out, impressing upon it your will as you call to it. What do you say to the creature?
You shall not pass.
Yeah, that's exactly why it failed.
And you fail.
That's it. I was
No.
like, what can I?
You basically try to Gandalf this creature, and it feels the oppressive nature of the Chancellor's crest, but something about it as it soars through this swirling ichor of octarine cloud just on the below where you now hover above, and breaks loose of your will. And just as it gets within range, you watch as that energy crackles and stretches outwards as it releases this blast of straight line electrical energy. I need everyone to make a dexterity saving throw.
Well, that's a 1.
Oof.
You do have Indomitable.
I do have Indomitable.
So do you, Chugrulk.
Yeah, I was just thinking exactly that then as well.
How bad could this possibly be?
Mm-mm.
Give me just a second. No, I'm taking it. This is I don't want to. We're in
Yeah,
this
I'm
fucking
gonna
castle.
I'm gonna take the 7. Mine's
Okay.
not a nat 1, so that's not as bad, I think. So I'm okay.
Okay. Cedric, what did you roll?
For my perception?
For dexterity save.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed that one. Sorry. Nat 1.
Holy
3.
shit.
Jeez, man. Just starting strong on this one.
No.
Get him out
It
now.
rolled over from a 19 over to a 1.
Oh, that
That
sucks.
sucks.
That really sucks. Okay, well,
Chugrulk, do you have your shield out? Because don't you have an extra point?
oh, you do have Shield Master.
It's 1 extra if your shield, I think, which puts you at 8. Which I don't know if that would.
I
Yeah, I'll.
don't think that
That's good to
still
keep in mind.
succeeds.
Yeah.
Tim, you just barely succeed. The DC was 13.
Yeah, baby.
So you only take half damage.
This guy.
That's not that many dice.
For those who failed, that was 20 points of electrical damage.
Yeah, we're all right.
Of lightning damage, I should say.
Not great.
If you succeeded, it's only 10.
Okay.
As a gout of
Um,
energy shoots out like a lightning bolt, staggering through all of you. Cedric, piercing you right in the chest, just taking the full brunt of it through your metal armor. The rest of you, it arcing off of him, hitting Georgio, Chugrulk, and Tim. You just barely dodge out of the way, but you feel it sear across your back.
I will be using my Stone's Endurance to reduce this.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I'm only reducing it by 6. Could have been way better than that. Oh well. Still good. Let me take
Can I have somebody roll me a d6, please?
I got it.
Not me.
Sure. How's that?
Okay, his breath weapon recharges.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On a 5 or 6, their breath weapon recharges.
Fuck.
As you watch, the initial blast, you can see it hasn't fired again, but you can see the energy beginning to billow and build back in its maw once again. What would you all like to do? This creature is about 50 feet away from the bulk of you.
How long did it take for it to charge up last time?
It charged up for about a round because it was flying towards you. It took about half a round to span the distance from 80 feet to get within range of firing to you. Now it's well within range of all of you.
Okay, well, I mean,
Question.
Yes.
Am I... So I stopped the 1. So like I couldn't do another one, right? But I still technically like have power over the first one.
So if one fails against you, it is essentially stunned for or incapacitated for 10 minutes.
Okay. All right.
If it succeeds against your seal, it is immune to being coerced for 24 hours. But it's only immune to the seal that it succeeded against. So yes, you could potentially as your action, you could try to command it to halt with your seal.
Okay, I wasn't sure how it worked. With like, if it was just like incapacitated, or if it like it listens to me for 10 minutes. Because like I said, I'm like, I want to fucking grapple the other one.
Have it blast.
Right. So
that'd be so sick, but no. So that's
you
the case, then
feel as you command this creature, you command it to halt, but you don't seem to have the necessary influence to command it to do anything other than to remain stationary.
I'm not strong enough. All right. Yeah, I don't know what anyone else's plan is, but I'm definitely down to. I could try to fucking stop the other one.
Yeah, I mean, we just gotta beat it up, right? Like,
it's always an option.
Hit me with an electric blast and did 20 damage. All right, man. Like,
it rolled pretty well.
I'm surprised it did that much.
Yeah, that was 4d8.
I feel like we can just kill it. I don't know.
Could certainly try.
If that's its opening move, I am not deterred from trying to beat this thing up. So, if we are,
yeah, I mean, if you guys want to try
I'm ready to fight. I mean, if you can stop it, fantastic. We don't have to fight it, but I will. If my turn's first, if my turn's before yours, like if I roll higher initiative, I'm just gonna go hit it. Like,
yeah, I mean that's true. Are we technically in initiative, right? Like how's
you
that
were
work
kind of
right
playing
now?
it fast and loose, just because I didn't want to have to roll initiative for this right now.
Yeah,
gotcha.
I mean, if that's its turn and now we all get to go, like I'll just go hit it and see what happens.
You essentially all get to go now, and then it'll go again.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll try to stop it first. And if it fails, then let's beat it up. Well, I won't. Everyone else will.
So you're gonna try to command it to halt.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna roll again. Again, it needs to have a 16 up to succeed. No.
Yeah, easy.
Hey.
Let's go.
After its blast arcs through you and your companions, Tim, you duck out of the way and raise the end of the inscrutable staff towards it as you scream out halt one more time at this creature, and you watch as it goes a bit limp and the billowing, crackling energy in its maw begins to dissipate and sputter out into smoke as it stays fluttering about 20 or 30 feet away from the other one that's already halted. What would you all like to do? They are currently incapacitated for the next 10 minutes.
I mean, do we just yeet?
Yeah, is there like a turret that we could get to that's close or something?
You go ahead and give me a perception check.
Um, 6.
It is extremely hard to tell through this haze. You're pretty much at the point, if you go any further into this clouded, deep haze, you will begin to have to make Constitution saving throws. So if you were to take your Aqua Expurgo, now would probably be the time.
Let's rock and roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna chug a lug.
Chugging.
If you remember, it's not a chug.
Yeah, you gotta stab.
You remember that scene from Pulp Fiction?
You gotta
Yeah,
really
that's. I remember
yeah.
that was the comparison
Yeah.
the last time. I remember.
Yeah, it's like Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, I forgot
Okay.
about that.
For those at home, go watch that scene. It's awful. It's not pleasant.
Awfully rad.
Yeah, I'm gonna pump mine into the old chest and be done with it.
You jam the needle deep into your heart, plunging the icy cold orange liquid into your veins directly as you feel it pump out through your bloodstream into all your various veins. You feel this immediate cold sensation in your chest that dissipates as it spreads, but you feel temporarily inoculated from the contaminating effects of the deep haze. Give me just a moment here. I need to look at something. But as you slowly, are you descending into the deep haze closer to the castle, or how are you proceeding?
I think we want to land inside the, I mean, obviously inside the castle walls, but like as close to the main tower, I think, as we
Yeah.
can
So if
get.
we can, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to hit the ground if we can avoid it personally. Like the courtyard or whatever. But
Okay.
we had an idea that there were like some sort of large something or another's that we could see when we were flying over, right?
Yes, at this distance now, you can see that there are extremely large, huge entities down in the courtyard, as well as some still large but not as big entities down in this frontal courtyard. You can see there's about a half a dozen. Most of them are similar to those that you saw in the courtyards of the Inscrutable Tower. Those massive hulking lumps of mutilated flesh kind of slurping across the ground, almost sliding like slugs across the top of their feet more so than stepping. But what you also see is a massive hulking being of some kind as it steps into a shadowy space and you lose sight of it. But you definitely saw some very large entity down in this front courtyard that you are not quite sure about. But what you are sure about is at a distance, you feel Tim, you would catch this first. You feel this intense charge of energy at a distance. At the highest pointed tower on the rooftop of the castle itself looms a shadowy creature. And as you draw... What's up?
It's Batman.
It's Batman. Where is she? No.
Rachel.
Oh,
Not unlike the wyverns that you just subdued temporarily, but much, much larger. A huge combination of steel covered in what appears to be some melting flesh. A horrifying combination of organic and inorganic construct. And as you grow closer, you watch as first two massive spread wings sling out from both sides of its main body. Massive steel claws gripping the highest point of the main tower of pinnacle. As its long neck stretches out, horns and spikes all around its head and down its spine. A huge swinging reptilian-like tail at the end. What you see at a distance is the primary guardian of the Castle Drakken. Compared to this creature, the two that you saw, that you interacted with thus far, seem like mere garden geckos by comparison to this fully formed draconic construct.
Hate that.
You've seen this entity before, Giorgio. Never moving like this before. And never this gruesome in its design or its appearance. This is what remains of the castle's once grand protector construct. Minzorand. The bronze dragon that has stood atop the tower of Castle Drakken for nearly 100 years. But it has been warped and twisted by the haze. And now its attention has turned upon you. Let me go ahead and pull this up for you all. Did that show up for you guys?
It's loading. There we go. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
terrifying.
Yeah.
I've never seen it move at all, right?
Pardon?
Like it's a statue.
You saw it as a statue. You've never seen it
Right, okay,
move.
Yeah. So it's been a statue for as long as I've known it. Now it is moving. Okay.
But now
Weird.
you realize it's a lot more than a statue.
Right.
It is a combination of steel and flesh, tainted by the haze as it begins to move, protecting the ancestral home without a monarch to rule it. And we'll pick that up next time.